This isn't just an entry from a ship's log, it's a final message from the deep, dark abyss. A yellowed page, pulled from a marine archive, was the log of the oil tanker Esso Malmö. The year was 1966. The place, the vast Atlantic, somewhere in the roaring 40s. The captain's dry entry stated what he had seen. We encountered a wave of truly abnormal, massive height. The powerful impact struck the ship on the bow. The bridge, 18 meters above the water, was completely flooded by the gigantic ocean wave. The recorded damages were minor, and the ship continued on its course. But think about that. The bridge was as high as a 6-story building. What kind of wave could reach that height in the open ocean? This report, like hundreds of others, was simply filed away. It was marked as an exaggeration or an observer's error. According to the science of the time, waves like this couldn't exist. Physics said it was impossible. Mathematics said it was an unreal event. But what if the sailors were right and the scientists were wrong? What if the ocean hides something beyond our formulas, something primitive, monstrous, and absolutely real? This investigation asks, why did science refuse to believe? And what price has humanity paid for this academic pride? The answer lies on the bottom of the ocean, next to the wreckage of a supposedly unsinkable ship. The ship sailed on its final voyage, facing the unforgiving North Atlantic. It was December 7th, 1978. The port was Bremerhaven, Germany. The cold air smelled strongly of diesel and salty sea. At the pier stood the pride of the German fleet, the large container ship, the MS München. This was not just a ship, it was a marvel of late 70s engineering. Its length was 261 meters, nearly the length of 3 football fields. It had the most modern navigation systems available, and most importantly, it had a unique design. It carried 83 huge floating barges on its deck, each one weighing 370 tons. The MS München was considered practically unsinkable. Its hull had numerous watertight compartments, and its bridge rose a full 20 meters above the sea. It seemed that no wave could ever harm it. The crew of 28 were all experienced sailors. Crossing the North Atlantic was routine work for them. This was the München's 62nd voyage on this very route. Nobody doubted the ship would arrive safely in Savannah, Georgia, but they were all tragically mistaken. The MS München would never enter any port again. The ship entered the open ocean and sailed directly into a huge storm. But this wasn't just any ordinary storm. A cyclone of the century was raging over the Atlantic. Waves reached up to 15 meters high. For any other ship, this would be a harrowing test, but the München was built for these harsh conditions. It moved confidently along its designated course. Then, on December 12th, at 3 o'clock in the morning, a faint, intermittent SOS signal was heard on the radio. A Greek vessel named Marion picked up the signal. It was coming from the MS München. The radio operator only made out a few fragments. SOS, 28 souls. Then, only silence. The giant ship had simply vanished. One of the largest search and rescue operations in maritime history began. Over 100 ships and 16 planes scoured the area, searching for the ship, the crew, or any debris. But they found only an empty, raging, desolate sea. Then, on December 14th, a plane spotted a life raft. The lonely raft was completely empty. It had been torn from its mountings, 20 meters above the waterline. Engineers concluded that a monstrous force was required to do this, a force far greater than any known storm wave. This was the first real clue to what had happened. Over the next few days, more debris was found, more mangled life rafts, and 3 of the massive barges. But they did not find a single body. On December 20th, the hopeless search was finally called off. The MS München and its 28 crew members were lost forever. An official investigation was started to find the cause. The final conclusion was confusingly and frustratingly vague. The vessel was lost due to severe weather conditions. An unknown event caused a rapid loss of buoyancy. The investigation had reached a complete dead end, but among sailors, a different, more frightening version of the story was whispered. They spoke of killer waves, of walls of water. For centuries, these stories were considered nothing more than sea folklore, tall tales told by superstitious men. But the fate of the MS München made some people reconsider. To understand why, we must look at the old science of the ocean. Oceanography was a science built on statistics and models. The primary model used was the linear model, which assumed that most waves have an average predictable height. Giant extreme waves were considered almost non-existent. The theoretical maximum storm wave height was pegged at 15 meters. Anything higher was deemed impossible. But the evidence of stranger waves kept piling up. In 1933, the USS Ramapo measured a 34-meter wave. This incredible report was filed away and ignored. It wasn't until January 1st, 1995, that everything changed. On that day, a laser on the Draupner oil platform in the North Sea recorded a single, monstrous wave measuring 26 meters high, surrounded by much smaller waves. The Draupner wave was the first instrumentally recorded rogue wave. It proved that they were real and could form anywhere at any time. This discovery completely revolutionized our view of the ocean. The old linear model was catastrophically wrong when it came to extreme events. Scientists now had to create entirely new models. They discovered a process called modulational instability, where a sequence of waves can spontaneously transfer their energy into a single massive wave. This one wave grows into a short-lived huge monster before disappearing as quickly as it appeared. This new science finally explained the mystery of the MS München. Imagine the München battling through the 15-meter storm waves. The crew is experienced, the ship is stable. Suddenly, out of the darkness, a 35-meter wall of water appears. It rises up before them, impossibly tall. They have absolutely no time to react. Millions of tons of water crash down onto the deck. The ship's bow plunges deep into the wave's trough. The immense weight and stress bends the massive hull like a matchstick. The steel breaks in half with a deafening roar. The crest of the wave demolishes the bridge, killing the crew instantly. This explains the sudden and complete loss of radio contact. The wave's force tore the lifeboats from their steel mountings 20 meters up. The broken ship then sank in just a few minutes, giving the crew no chance to escape. This theory explains all the strange, horrifying facts of the case. We now know that these ocean monsters are real. The main task for scientists today is to learn how to predict them. This is an incredibly difficult and complex scientific challenge. Special radar systems are being developed for ships, but it's a desperate race against time and the ocean itself. The story of the MS München is a powerful, humbling lesson. It shows how our most confident theories can shatter against the reality of nature. It reminds us that there are forces in this world that still exceed our grasp and our understanding. And it makes you wonder, what other sea myths might turn out to be true? The ocean still holds its secrets very, very close. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries. Stay curious.